Jake, thank you so much for joining me on the Salon Owners Collective podcast. Pleased to have you here.
Glad to be here.
So let's kick things off with a little bit of who the heck are you, Jake? Where are you in the world? What do you do? And then how did you get to be doing it?
All right. I'm just a guy. My name's Jake. Okay. I'm from Southern California. I'm from Huntington Beach. If there's any surfers that watch this, the US Open is in Huntington Beach every year. It's a big surf town. And I am a barber. I am about to open my first barber shop. I've been a professional barber. It will be 9 years on October 15th. So we're about there. Basically 9 years I've been a barber, and I'm 43 years old. Up until I was 33, I was a musician. I was a drummer for a lot of years and then a singer. I was in bands. I toured the country. I wanted to be a rock star. And like a lot of people that want to be rock stars and fall short, I became a barber. It's a thing that happens in Southern California quite a lot. And how I became a barber was I kind of realized that maybe I wasn't going to be a famous rock star. I better get a second skill. I was getting married. I'd met a lovely lady that I'm married to now. I have a son with, and I had met her, and I'm like, you know what? Time to get married. Time to get off the road. And I had a friend who was also a musician that became a barber. He convinced me to come down to the barber shop, hang out with him for a couple days, and see if I liked it. I loved it. I immediately went to barber school, and 9 years later, here I am opening up my own shop in Huntington Beach. Nice Day Barber Shop, coming soon.
I love it. I love it. So I'm really interested in this sort of career transition, and what now has led you from having a great career as being a barber, but now going into starting your own business. When did you recognize, all right, it's time for me to actually go out on my own and start something?
So it was extremely recent when I thought this. This was not a planned out thing, this barbershop in any way. So I was just cruising along, being a barber and trying to get good at my craft. And I was very lucky that right out of barber school, I was hired at a spot called American Vintage Barbershop. It's in Long Beach, California. And it won Barbershop of the Year the last several years. I was there for 8 years learning from really good barbers. So I got good. I got to do a lot of haircuts. And then COVID hit. And when the lockdowns happened, our barbershop was shut down for a long time. And this was the same time that I had my son Rocky. So it was weird. I'm home. I'm not cutting hair for a little over a year. And by the time the barbershop start opening back up, I have a 1.5-year-old now, and childcare becomes an issue. So I became a stay-at-home dad. My wife holding it down, doing all the work. I'm raising my son. Only about 3 or 4 months ago did our schedules, open up, and Rocky became old enough for daycare and stuff that I could start barbering again. So I get a barbering job a couple days a week right down the hill from my house in a new neighborhood I've never cut in, about 15, 16 miles from where I used to cut hair. So I have to build a whole new clientele. It's been a couple years, and I'm in this barber shop, and I'm loving the shop. I love the guys, but I'm realizing I had this epiphany where I go, I can either sit here and rebuild a whole new clientele at someone else's shop, or maybe I should just start my own shop and build my clientele in my own shop. It just happened to me because I was having a slow day in a new shop in a new neighborhood, and my mind's racing. I immediately started looking for shops in my local area, and I found a tiny one that was just affordable enough. I called the landlord, and he called me back, and I swear, one day I thought maybe I should do this. One day, the next day I find the spot, I call a guy, and this is a month later. I'm not kidding you. I'm opening my barbershop. So an epiphany to it's happening in 4 weeks, record time.
I love that, Jake. It's very much like my own story and journey. I remember very clearly, I was not long out of my apprenticeship, and one of my clients said to me, Larissa, do you think you'll ever open your own business? And I said, oh, no, probably not. Maybe when I'm married with 3 kids and a white picket fence, I'll think about it then. I literally said that to her the week before, and maybe it sparked something in me. Another team member had traveled overseas, and she came back to visit. This was within a couple of days, and she said, I'm going to open my own business. And just those 2 conversations together, I was driving down the street, and a very well-known salon not far from where I was working had relocated and there was empty space and I was at the lights sitting there. I don't know how long are you at the lights, 45 seconds, a minute, maybe tops. And I had the same epiphany, Jake. Oh, maybe I could do that myself. And within 6 weeks, we were open and first clients coming in the door. So sometimes you just have to take the inspirational moment and run with it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you felt the same way. It was so strange. Once I saw the idea in my mind, I could not unsee it. I went home and told my wife, I'm like, I think I should start my own shop. Like, what do you think? And she just goes, you should start looking. She's all, I think you should too. She's all, I think it's time. She just kind of saw it too. And then not at a stoplight, but I would say like the first website I checked, I'm like, what's this tiny little 300 square foot place that I could maybe afford, And here I am. So crazy how once you see it, right, you can't unsee it.
Sure. And I think in those moments, you just have to act, right? Don't overthink it, take action, take massive action, and worry about what happens next afterwards.
Yeah.
Plenty of time to worry about that. All right. Tell us a little bit about the vision, how you're pulling it together. You're like right in the thick of it. Tell us the vision that you saw.
So I always, I guess I've always seen a bar, like this shop I wanted in my mind. And, I've surfed my whole life and I played music my whole life. So I wanted to lean on that. Oh man, one of my cats is trying to join the podcast right now. Whoa there, Simon. Look at the size of this guy, huh? Yikes. That's my small one, by the way. For the listeners, big gray cat just went through. So the vision, I can tell you, I've chose the floors, I've chose the walls. So we're doing the light wood floors, white walls, very clean, not a lot of clutter. I want it to be very peaceful. I named it Nice Day Barbershop. There's a lot of like punk rock barbershops around here that are really rad. Those are the shops I've worked at, and I'm going to have some punk music, and then there's a lot of just the kind of traditional old school barbershops. I don't know how the barbershops are in New Zealand, but in America, like there's two types of barbershops right now. There's kind of the young, cool shops coming up that are kind of rockabilly, rock and roll style or hip hop, right? Style. And then you've got the older barbers that I can't wait to be one day. I can't wait to be an 85-year-old guy just cutting it up. There's the older barbershops that, have the checkered floors, the ripped seats, and they're awesome too. But there was nothing kind of in the middle, like surf, skateboard, but also peaceful beach vibe. So I'm offering that. It's going to be a very clean look. And I'm going to have my, there's going to be a little surfboard rack so people can come in straight from the beach, put their surfboards on the wall. And it's going to be a family style shop. So I don't know if you can envision that. Envision wood floors, white walls, and then plant life and a lot of windows. I got a corner unit. So windows, ceiling to floor, 12-foot tall windows across 2 full walls. It kind of wraps around a corner. So a lot of natural light. It's going to be peaceful. Somehow it'll be peaceful with punk rock, ska music, and reggae mixed in. That we can all imagine the peace there.
I love that. And then your surfboard not far away so you can take off to the beach straight after work.
You know it. And then a TV on the wall with like, hey, all the surf competitions will be live on the TV. I really love MMA. So when the UFC fights are on, I love it when everyone in a shop's watching and commenting and talking, yelling at the TV. While remaining peaceful. There will be a candle lit to suggest the peace. Yeah, that's the vibe I'm going for anyway.
I love that, blending those two things together. I think that's really good. A little bit unique, super clear vision. All right, let's talk a little bit about what are the challenges been to date. Like, what are some of the challenges you've had to overcome to get this far?
I mean, well, once this ball started rolling, it started rolling fast, and I'd never even thought of starting a business before this. So I realized real quickly, oh, what is a business plan? I better write one of these, right? So every step of the way has been a bit of an issue, but nothing too crazy. Like I had to find out what a business plan was and write one to try to get this place. And so I did, and that was cool. But then I'm learning as I go. So anyone who's about to start, here's a piece of advice. And I don't know how it is in New Zealand. I don't know how it is in other places in this world. But what I realized when I went to start this business is I'm way more intense and trying to get things done than anyone else because I think it's my first business. So I'm excited, right? So I'm like calling downtown, hey, I need to get my business license. And I went to downtown Huntington Beach and sat in line for an hour and 45 minutes to get my business license. And when I got up to the front, the lady's like, she's like, you don't even have the keys yet. They haven't even demolitioned the spot. Like we have to get, she's all, dude, go relax. So I guess I tried to do everything way too early. And now I've realized, hey, let them renovate the place, right? Let order the chairs when the flooring's done. Like I'm learning to actually relax and slow down when you're starting a business. I kind of freaked out and thought, oh my God, I have to get everything done in 3 weeks. And then I realized, no, I can get my business license 2 months after I'm already cutting everyone's hair. No one cares. So there you go. I hope it's like that wherever you guys are. Relax and take a back seat, I think, for a minute when you start your business, right?
I think that's a good sort of mantra in any stage of business, to be fair, because
Yeah.
but I think it's got to be balanced with this. I'm actually prepared to get the shit done because there are plenty of people that I come across. I'm a business coach, as you know, and coach a lot of people. Some people aren't prepared to get the shit done and take way too much time and need a bullet to get things going. So I think there's finding a balance. And if we know ourselves and we tend to be over hyperactive, then we can just chill a little bit. But if we're actually not getting things done and they're not coming together, sometimes we have to look within and go, well, is there a reason why the stuff's not coming together? Because I'm not putting my ducks in a row. So
Yep.
most of the people I work with, Jake, are like you, and we want to get things done faster. We can see a clear vision and we're racing towards it. And I think this is a good trait ultimately. We just have to have a little bit of patience when things just slow us down a little bit, and that's not always a bad thing.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm glad I learned it. You know what it was? I have a friend, I'll just quick. I had a friend that started a business up the street, and I was telling him, I'm like, I'm trying to get my business license. And he told me, he's like, he goes, you know when I got my business license? And I go, when? He goes, when a lady walked in with a clipboard and said, where's the owner of this place? You guys need to get a bit. And he's like, it was 3 months into my business. And I went, okay, I'm just being an insane person.
There's some, I kind of like this topic actually, because sometimes we worry about all of the things that don't make the ends meet. Like if we can cut the hair, we can get the clients to pay the money, everything else will fall into place. And that's actually what we need to prioritize first, because if the ends don't meet, nothing else can come together. So it's probably a good early lesson, Jake.
It's so funny you just said cut the hair, because the owner of the first shop that I worked at, American Vintage, awesome, cool guy, and he had a mantra. It's he would always say, just cut the hair. He would always say that. It was like the simplest thing. Like when anyone would be worrying about anything, he'd be like, hey, just cut the hair. Like, and then we would all laugh and we go, just cut the hair. Yeah. So you said his mantra kind of, but I always do remember that in the back of my head. Like, dude, it's just cutting hair too. Just cut the hair and go.
Yeah, get the business done, make the ends meet, for sure.
Yep.
Before we pushed record, Jake, we kind of talked about mantras, and you kind of alluded to it now, which I think, just cut the hair and about keeping things simple. I felt like this is something that you feel strongly about. Tell me about that.
I do, yeah, because this is my thing. Oftentimes we get concerned with money, and success in the form of money. And money's rad. I want a lot of it, just like all of you guys. So not hating on that. But I think we have to just remember sometimes that what we ultimately want is to be happy. If happiness was free, which it can absolutely be, then what good is money really at that point, right? I just want to be happy. If I'm happy till I die, money, okay, I'm just looking at happy. So sometimes I always try to remember that. I guess my mantra, the thing I'm keeping in my mind is, I'm not going to go crazy trying to become a millionaire opening my own barbershop. I want to be successful. I want my family to be taken care of, and I want everyone who's working for me to be doing great. But I'm going to always err on the side of not overstretching myself. I'd rather keep myself, my barbers, and everyone who's coming into my shop happy, than to try to squeeze extra dollars out of every corner and maybe becoming unhappy. One way I'm going to achieve that is and this is a barber thing. Barbers shops can be very simple with their pricing. And there's a company, In-N-Out Burger, even though I think it's pretty much a Southern California thing. Everyone across the world knows In-N-Out. One thing I love about In-N-Out is if you go to the drive-through of In-N-Out, I swear to God, there's 5 things on this menu. There's a number 1, a number 2, and with a number 1 and a number 2, you choose your drink, and if you want to shake with it, that's it. There's no onion rings. There's no crispy chicken. No, it's 5 things. They're all bangers. You know what you're here for. We're giving it to you affordably. And you're out the back gate. Like, you're not, and that's what I want to keep my whole vibe. The prices will be fair. There's not going to be 37 choices of what you can do. We're doing the haircuts, the buzzes, the shaves, come and go. Very simple, very clean. Not a lot of stress.
Amen. Look, amen to
Yeah.
that, because I think
Yeah.
it's very easy to overcomplicate and continue to layer things on, and which you confuse, you lose too many options, and it's all over. Keep it simple, sweetheart. Be clear about what it is. Like, I like this In-N-Out burger. Like, it's a burger. It's a thing. There's one thing, and this is what you sell. So I think there's a lot of sense to that. Great.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I'll find a way to put that in 5 words one day.
Yeah. As tradition here on the podcast, Jake, what is something or someone that's inspirational, a book or a podcast or someone that you follow that you could share with everybody listening?
Okay, I do. I had a different idea of what I was going to say. We chatted a quick bit about it earlier, but so inspirational. There were a few people that were inspirational to me very recently. Inspirational to me. So my younger brother. I didn't mention this yet on this show, but I mentioned that I was a musician, but my brother is a musician, a really popular musician. He's in a band called the Dirty Heads. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but they've had a lot of hits over here. And so I've always wanted to have something cool of my own that was successful like my brother. And my shop that I'm opening up is right next to his house. He's going to be coming and hanging out. And because of my playing music in the local community and my brother's band, we have a lot of young kids and people in the community that are going to be coming to my shop because of the music thing. So I'm inspired by what my brother's done. He's built up this cool thing for himself musically, and he's made a couple other businesses through that as well. And I was also recently inspired by the last barbershop I worked at was this little shop called Bordeaux, and it's right by my house. And that's the shop where I had the epiphany where I'm like, I got to open my own shop. It's because this was just a dude like me, doesn't have a lot of money, cut at a few spots locally for a few years, and just basically had his own epiphany that he wanted to start his shop, and he did. And I started working there 2 months after he opened that place. And so even though I was only there for a couple months, talking to him, I knocked my headphone out. I'm back. Talking to him, Patrick is his name. And him telling me like, Jake, I just decided one day I wanted to start this shop and I found it. And then here I am sitting in his shop and I kind of got inspired by what he did. So it was like, I wanted to do something cool like my brother did. I was like watching my brother with his businesses. I'm like, okay, it's time for me to take a step up and do my own thing. And then I got a job at this little shop and got inspired by Patrick. And I guess those are the 2 things that were like rattling around in my head. And the shop that I found is like across the street from my brother. It like made sense. I'm like, this is so funny. I got to take this shop. It's all happening.
Serendipitous.
I don't know if those were good answers, but
amazing. All right. Why don't you share with us, where can people find you and stalk you momentarily? By the time this podcast comes out, you will be live and well, because I know people will want to come and find you. So what's your dub and your socials?
All right. Well, my social personally is Snake Bushnell. My name is Jake Bushnell, but Jake was taken. All right. I'm not trying to be extra rad. Snake Bushnell on Instagram, And then Nice Day Barbershop. I got the Instagram for Nice Day Barbershop and Facebook and all that. So yeah, you can find me Snake Bushnell, Nice Day Barbershop. And I just put out a new song called Quiet Town, Jake Bushnell. I'm on iTunes, Spotify, everywhere. Stalk me there, please. I don't have
Amazing.
very many music fans at the moment. I need some of those.
I appreciate you sharing your inspirational journey, how you got to here, because I know there's a lot of people listening who are just at the stage that you're at, or maybe a step behind, and this is going to give them the confidence to take a leap of faith and follow that intuition and just get started. So I appreciate it.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Hey, you guys, you're going to be paying chair rent anyway. So maybe you can find a shop that's just a little bit more than chair rent. Believe in yourself. Get after it. Larissa, thanks so much for having me. Cool show, too. I'm going to keep listening.
Amazing.